Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishna Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribraj Jagacharya Vaja Stotara Sata Sri Srimad Kula Churamani Sava Shastra Siddhantavit Ananta Shri Vibhushita Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj Abirbhav Maha Mahotsav ki jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravishna Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishna Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishna Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishna Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Rupa Nuga Guru Bhagya ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Sa Parshada Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sarup Damodar Ramananda Rai ki jai. Jai Vishwavaranya Om Vishnupad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Prem se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Go Gopi Govardhan Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Jamunaji ki jai. Srimati Ganga Mai ki jai. Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Sri Govinda Kunda ki jai. Sri Koladweep Navadweep Dham ki jai. Sri Hapaniya Dham ki jai. Sri Paman Paradam ki jai. Braja Mandal Sri Brindavan Dham ki jai. Sri Purushottama Ketta Dham ki jai. Balaram Subhadra Jagannath Ji ki jai. Bhakti Vignavanashana Sri Narasingha Deva ki jai. Bhakta Pravahashi Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavat Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Akaramataraj Sri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Navadip Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. London Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Tvadiya Shaka Mat ki jai. Tvadiya Vaishnava Brinda ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda ki jai. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali ki jai. Kol Kartel ki jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Anitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we are broadcasting from the East London branch of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math on this most auspicious day, the Holy Advent of our Divine Master, Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. And we are feeling very blessed to be in the company of the Vaishnavas, to remember His divine grace and to once again pledge ourselves to His eternal service. You may notice by my voice I'm a little croaky today, but it reminds me when we were with Guru Maharaj. Some mornings he would come all wrapped up with, chaddars and blankets wrapped around him, and he would say, "Mr. Cold has come to visit me today." So, Mr. Cold has also come to visit me today. So you please forgive me if I'm a bit croaky. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj appeared in this world on the 10th of October 1895 in the small village of Hapaniya in the confines of Goramandala. Hapaniya means sweet water, and it is called so because of the very sweet coconuts that grow there. The coconut water is considered to be very a high, pure type. And Guru Maharaj said that historically, in that village, only Brahmins lived there. Said after partition, in 1947, was it 1947? Then some people who came from what was then East Bengal, now Bangladesh, they settled there. But before that, it was all Brahmins. And although it's in Bengal, all of the people there spoke in Sanskrit to one another, conversationally and so on. And there also is still a Sanskrit school in Hapania, and it's called the Sridhar Swami Sanskrit School now. So Guru Maharaj appeared there in 1895, and he was the second child. The first child was a girl, but she died shortly after being born. So when Guru Maharaj's mother became again pregnant, she took Ram Kavacha to protect the unborn child. And Guru Maharaj was born under the same star as Lord Ramchandra on this day, the 9th day of Kartik, which is also the appearance day of the son of Nityananda Prabhu, Virachandra, or Birabhadra. And Guru Maharaj says he remembers, well, he doesn't remember, but he told us that when he was just born, because of the the inauspicious passing of his sister before, then their family members stayed guarding the maternity house so that no evil spirit or malevolent force could come there. Guru Maharaj said, in the form of a cat or anything like that. So then Guru Maharaj says he remembers when he was about 2 years old that there was a Sankirtan party, and he said, I was riding on the shoulders of my father, and I began crying and wouldn't stop crying until he took me to the Sankirtan party. So we came to the Sankirtan party. And Guru Maharaj also says when he was 3, his second brother, his brother, that was Mani Babu, it was born on that, and he says he remembered all of that. By the age of 5, Guru Maharaj could recite. There was one shloka in praise of Lord Shiva, and he could memorize that and could give that shloka by heart. And by the age of 7, he began mastering the rudiments of the Sanskrit language. He said, my father was a smarta Brahmin, and their family hated Mahaprabhu. They consider, he made chaos in society. As before Mahaprabhu, the castes very carefully avoided mixing with one another. But Mahaprabhu didn't care for casteism, and because of him, Brahmins and Shudras and so many others were mixing together. And so the smarta section, they considered that to be a very deplorable thing. He said, but my mother, her side of her family were devoted to Mahaprabhu. And he said, excuse me, when I was growing up, said my auntie, she taught me Mahabharata and Ramayana. And he said, so from my very young age, I was always in support of the, the Vedic culture. He said, when we were at school, they're trying to teach us all new things. He said, but I always opposed them. And nobody could defeat me, even as a young lad. So then when Guru Maharaj said he received his sacred thread when he was 14 years old in the family tradition, And then he went to college, and he was studying BA in law, Barampar College. He said this was when I came in contact with the people of East Bengal. He said, and I saw they had a very natural, sacrificing nature. He said that very much attracted me to them. And he said, this way I had much liking and affinity for Ramchandra, because he showed a perfect example. He said, but I did not like so much Krishna, because I could not accommodate that God will be, in Guru Maharaj's words, a liar and a girl hunter. He said, I could not very easily appreciate that. He said, but my appreciation for Krishna came first through Bhagavad Gita, and then through the character of Srimati Radharani, the sacrificing character of Srimati Radharani. I came to understand something about Krishna. But my liking more towards Ramchandra. And Guru Maharaj's name was Ramendra Chandra Bhattacharya. His family name, Bhattacharya, and his name, Ramendra Chandra. So he said, when I was in the 4th year of college, a young boy in the 1st year joined, whose name was Suresh Bhattacharya, no relation, but a friend. And he said, I saw in him that he had like a mad fever or fervor for chanting Harinam. He's always chanting Harinam very loudly. He said, and so we became friends. He said, in the school there were 2 types of people. He said, first there was they looked after patients in the school, because they taught medicine there also. So, and he said, so some of the people liked to give service to the sick, and then others liked to engage in puja and meditation and all of these things. And he said, but I liked both things. I liked. He said, so when they met, he said they became firm friends. And he said at that time I'd read somewhere that if you go on with the chanting of Gayatri Mantra 432 times every day, then some special realization will come to you. So Guru Maharaj said, we tried to do that together. We tried to do that. And he said, and I'm thinking not to try to understand the mantra by its words, but that rather that Gayatri is living, and she will reveal herself if she so desires. So this was my thinking. He said, but one day we were walking in the morning in the nearby woods and talking together, and we're cleaning our teeth with the twig, with the twigs are cleaning the teeth. And he said, and we were discussing something, and he said, and that boy, Suresh, he said, he referred to his father as that gentleman. And Guru Maharaj said, I objected. This is not the proper way to, speak about your father, that gentleman. And he said, yes, I did wrong. I'm sorry, you're right. He said, but the truth is, he is a gentleman, and somehow or another in this life I have come to be under his shelter, but in another life I'll be with somebody else. And like how many fathers I have. And Guru Maharaj said, I tried to protest, but the truth of what he said, it caught me. And he said, it was a big turning point in my life. He said, I felt hopeless, like I'm just floating in the infinite with nowhere to find any shelter. Like all of my family and everything, which I thought was a solid thing, is just all illusory and temporary. And he said, and then I became feeling hopeless. And he said, and we were coming up to the exams, and I couldn't study. It just seemed like a pointless waste of time to me now. I couldn't do it. And he said, and all my school friends, they were all saying, you have to study, otherwise you're not going to pass the exam. Very dissimilar to how things are today. Everybody wants the other person to fail, don't they? But there, they couldn't accept that. So they said, okay, if you won't study, we'll read the books to you. And they sat in the Guru Maharaj's room and read the textbooks to him. He said, and that time his father passed away. And he said, then it was the custom in his family that if the father dies, the eldest son, he won't wear shoes or use an umbrella for 1 year. And he said, but I took it more extreme, that for 1 year, no shoes, no umbrella, and only one cloth, just one cloth I wore. Said, very extreme. And he said, and both my mother and father are afraid because they know I want to be a sannyasi. So, anyway, he said, so this was the dilemma at the school, Guru Maharaj not studying, and the exam coming up, and then Guru Maharaj's father passed away, and he said my father was in almost like full consciousness at the time of his passing, and because I'm the oldest son, he told me some things, and one of them was, you must marry. And Guru Maharaj said, I didn't want to marry. He said, and my father could understand this, and he said, whether you marry or don't marry, don't disturb me now on my deathbed. Tell me that you'll marry. And Guru Maharaj said, he's like basically saying, lie if you need, but just let me die peacefully, knowing that you'll marry. And Guru Maharaj said, but I'd never told a lie in my entire life. So I couldn't, he said, whatever the consequence, I must tell the truth. And I cannot speak a lie. He said, so then it came out from my mouth, I will try. I will try. And then he said, then my father passed away. And then he took the exam, and it said, Guru Maharaj said it was a difficult exam, and almost everybody failed. He said, but he passed, Guru Maharaj passed, like with honors. And all of his college mates, fellow students, they said, he has passed by worshipping God, not by studying, but by worshipping God. Anyhow, he said, and at that time, he said that Suresh Bhattacharya, he came from a place called Faridapur in Bengal, and from a Brahmin family, and that was also the same village where Pranavananda, who was the founder of the Bharat Seva Ashram, he also came from there. And he said through him he met him, and that Pranavananda tried to recruit Guru Maharaj. He said, but at that time I got one book about Mahaprabhu. That book it's actually still available, but in Bengali it's called Amir Nimai Charita. And it's written by Shishir Kumar Ghosh. And an English version of it also was published, which is called Lord Gauranga. And it's published by Bharatiya Vidyabhavan, and as far as I know, it's still available. And Guru Maharaj said, you can go through it if you want. He said there are a few like historical inaccuracies, and also Siddhanta a little bit inaccurate. He said, but when I got this book, he said, I devoured it like nectar. He said, now I found, like, here's something worth living for. He said, so my head and heart both sold to Mahaprabhu. He said, so when this Pranavananda tried to recruit him for the Bharat Seva Ashram, he said, no, my heart is already given to Mahaprabhu. And that Pranavananda said, yes, I also have appreciation for Chaitanya Dev and the prema of Chaitanya Dev. He said, but first of all, we should practice the abnegation as taught by Buddha. And then we should study the Vedanta of Shankara. And then finally we can come to the prema of Chaitanya Dev. Otherwise it will be misunderstood. And Guru Maharaj said to him, it is very nice that you have appreciation of Mahaprabhu, and consider that his teaching is the highest. But Mahaprabhu never said you have to practice Buddhism and study the commentaries of Shankaracharya. He said, wherever you are, from whatever station you are, you can come to me immediately and take the Harinam, take the holy name of the Lord. He said he was silenced. Then Guru Maharaj said, if you have any supernatural power, can you tell me who is my Guru? In that Pranabananda, he told him some name, Haranath. Guru Maharaj said, I looked, but I could never find anyone of that name. Excuse me. Anyway, so then Guru Maharaj said, so I'm wandering here and there looking for a Guru, looking where is my Guru? But I am not finding anyone to my liking. He said, then Mahatma Gandhi came and he asked everyone, you please give like 2 years of your life and I will give you Swaraj, I will give you independence. And Guru Maharaj said, I wanted to be a sannyasi. He said, but the country is calling me. I thought I can give those 2 years and sacrifice that for the country. So Guru Maharaj joined Gandhi's non-cooperation movement. He was a barrister. Guru Maharaj was a barrister, so first of all he had some service for them in Krishnagar, and then they asked him to go to Calcutta, to the office in Calcutta, to advise on, items of law and so on. So Guru Maharaj went there. He said, but all the time I'm thinking about Mahaprabhu. Where is Mahaprabhu? Where are his followers? And he said, I'm coming home from the office. Oh no, sorry, I missed one thing. Then his mother arranged his marriage. And so Guru Maharaj married. And I was married for 6 years in total, but no children. Anyhow, then he said, I'm coming home from the office and I'm on Chitranjan Avenue, and there was a big placard which said, month-long festival of Hari Smaranam at Sri Gaudiya Math, Bagbazar Gaudiya Math, near Pashunath temple. Then Guru Maharaj said, oh, Gaudiya Math, that must be Mahaprabhu's followers. So tomorrow I will go and find out what that is. Wow. What was that? Is it fallen?
No, just shift it to some move.
Okay. See if you can fix it, Darkesh. Because we took it down to clean. This picture, yeah. To clean the wall and everything, before the festival. So maybe it's not been put back on properly. Very heavy. Anyhow. So the next day Guru Maharaj comes to the Bagbazar Gaudiya Math. And he said, when I arrived there was just one devotee there on the gate, and everyone else had gone for Nagar Sankirtan, for chanting in the street. So then I had some conversation with him, and I can understand. I had some idea about Chaitanya, but their idea was much deeper. And he said, and I can see that they don't care for the opinion of anyone of the day. They don't care what Ramakrishna says. They don't care what Aurobindo says. They don't care what anybody says. They only care what Mahaprabhu says and what the scripture says. He said then gradually the Sankirtan party came back, and their big party, and at the head of the party, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur with Danda. And Guru Maharaj said, when I saw him, that figure coming, he said, my first impression was, this is someone who doesn't care anything at all about this material world. No concern at all for this material world. And then he said he came, he was received, someone took the Danda, and then. But interestingly, he said, everyone that was singing in the kirtan, he said, but I never once saw Saraswati Thakur sing in the kirtan, ever. And then Guru Maharaj joked and said, maybe because he didn't have any teeth. But he said, I never saw him. But Guru Maharaj has written in his pranam mantra to him, the personification of Hari Kirtan. He said, but in the Kirtan he never joined, he never sang, he just would sit. Anyway, so that was Guru Maharaj's first vision of his Guru Maharaj. And he said, then I started coming. And I was coming every evening, and very intently listening to the talks, and the program was going on there. He said, so much so that the residents of the mott thought I was a spy from the government. They're thinking, like, nobody's that enthusiastic when they first come. He must be some kind of spy sent by the government. So they were a little bit suspicious about him. Then Guru Maharaj said, I decided that this was where I wanted to give my faith here. Then he said, and I'm thinking, but what would be the obstacle to that? He said, I'm thinking, my mother, well, she's okay. She won't live much longer, but my brothers can take care of her. But my wife, what will happen to my wife? And he said, then it came in my mind, if she were to die, then I'd be free. Then he said, and that very night when I arrived home, all ashen-stricken brothers and sisters came out and said, oh, your wife has taken ill. And he said, within 3 days she passed away. He said, my mother tried to get me married again, but I refused. He said, then I'm going every evening to the Gaudiya Mott. And he said, and I want to know, I want to know everything about the mission. Then to know the mission, you have to know the founder of the mission. He said, so Saraswati Thakur's rooms were upstairs, and he said, so I would go upstairs and I would sit outside his room and try to hear if he's having any conversation or anything. He said, then one evening, one brahmachari stopped me. Where are you going? I like to hear from Gurudev. I'm going up to Guru Maharaj. No, never. You wait here in the waiting room, and if you tell anyone who you want to meet, and if they're available, they will say. But otherwise, you wait here, and you never go up the stairs. And he said, a little harshly, and he said, I thought, what is this? They're meant to be sadhu. Why they're speaking in such a harsh way to me? This isn't very good. Then he said, and then I thought, I shall not come here again. Then he said, I went for a walk down by the river. It's near to the Hooghly. So I went for a walk down there, and he said, then it came in my mind. Shukadev was sent by Vyasadeva to Janakraj to finish his education. So when he arrived at the kingdom of Janakraj, he was kept at the first gate for 7 days. And after 7 days, Janak sent a message, let him pass. Then he passed the first gate and then came to the second gate. And there he was made to wait another 7 days. And there were 7 gates before you could get to the actual palace. So he was detained at each gate 7 days, so 49 days before he could even meet Janakraj. And Guru Maharaj said, for some reason this came into my mind. Then he said, then I made a decision. If there is nothing of any value here, even if they put me on a throne and do worship to me, I won't stay. But if there is something valuable here, and I think there is something valuable here, then even if they beat me with broomsticks, I won't leave. And Guru Maharaj returned. Said shortly after that, Saraswati Thakur was walking on the balcony upstairs, and Guru Maharaj said, I had sat in the corner, and he noticed me, and he sent his servant. Ask him, does he have something he wants to say to us? And Guru Maharaj replied, no, I don't have anything to say. And he went back. He says he doesn't have anything to say. Does he have a question he wants to ask? He went back. Prabhupada wants to know, you have a question? Do you want to? No, I have no question. Then he came and he said, so, no, he has no question. Then Saraswati Thakur said, please, then ask him, for what purpose? For some purpose he must have come here. For what purpose has he come here? Then he came back and he said, Guru Maharaj wants to know for what purpose you have come. And Guru Maharaj said, yes, of course. Do you have any purpose for coming here? And Guru Maharaj said, yes, of course. Without purpose, nothing will happen. And then what purpose? He said, to get the grace of you all. That is my purpose. And he came back and they told Saraswati Thakur, he says he wants the grace of us all. Then Saraswati Thakur said, ask him to come and speak with me. Then Guru Maharaj came and told him, and he said, oh, you're very fortunate, you were born in Gora Mandala, and like that. This was their first meeting, and Saraswati Thakur gave him a booklet, and Guru Maharaj said, oh, I already have it. But his assistant said, yes, you may, but this is different. With his goodwill, he wants to give this to you. So it is something special. And Guru Maharaj said, so I took it and I put it on my head, accepted it from him like this. Then he said, this was the first meeting. He said, then I was coming, going. Then my mother went, he said, my mother went to Kumbh Mela. And while she was there, she became ill. So she sent a letter to Guru Maharaj to please come and see me at the Kumbh Mela, come and meet with me. And he said, and at the very same time, I got an invitation from Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur to attend the Gaura Purnima festival in Mayapur. He said, then I'm in a quandary. Do I go to my mother, our last meeting? Or do I go to the Gaura Purnima festival? And he said, then I decided, this is where I want to give my life. Then, ignoring my mother's request, I went to the Gaura Purnima festival. And while he was there, his mother passed away. So they said, then I came, and it was a very wonderful atmosphere. Said old Tirtha Maharaj, Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj, he's giving a lecture in one place. Bharati Maharaj collecting funds and giving receipts in another place. Kirtan going on here and so many things. He said, very beautiful, wonderful atmosphere. He said, we stayed for that festival. And he said, then when we were leaving, Saraswati Thakur was sitting outside his room in a wicker chair. And everyone, not everyone, but many people coming and offering their obeisances to him and going their way. And Guru Maharaj said, and he's saying, oh, you people, don't cheat me. And Guru Maharaj said, I'm a very acute listener, and I'm thinking, what does he mean, don't cheat me? We were invited for the festival, we've come for the festival's finished, now everyone's good. Where's the question of cheating? And he said, so I want to hear more of why he's saying that. Said, so I just sat down somewhere nearby. And then he said, Saraswati Thakur said, oh, all you people, you have come here, and I've entered into a relationship with you because you have promised to serve Krishna. And now you're all going away to do mundane things again. So why you are cheating me? And he said, and if you say, well, I have some business to attend to, and once I've finished that, then I'll come. And then I say to you, oh, if you say that your house is on fire, and you have to go and put the fire out, and then you can come, then I say, no, let the whole world burn. So, and don't become involved with those burned things. Then the only remedy for everything is Hari Kirtan, the service of Lord Krishna. So better let the world burn, but don't neglect the service of Lord Krishna. So then Guru Maharaj said, then I had to return my mother was afraid that I would become a sannyasi and not do her Shraddha ceremony. And so, being the oldest son, I had to go home and do the Shraddha ceremony. He said, then I'm thinking, I should come for a while, and like, what shall I do? And he said, then Bharati Maharaj and Bon Maharaj, they said, when I gave like my reasoning, they said, no, Krishna has already taken your wife and now your mother, or you are free. You should come immediately. He said, so then I decided I would, and I came, and I joined the mission there. This is 1921. And he said, my brothers also came. He said, but they went home crying, and I stayed. So that was Guru Maharaj's stay at the mott. And then he said, then within 1 year, I got Harinam. And at the time of Harinam, Saraswati Thakur said he changed my name from Ramendra Chandra to Ramendra Sundar. And he said, I wanted to know what he meant by Ramendra Sundar. Like, Guru Maharaj is Sanskrit scholar. He knows the meanings of the words, but he wants to know what is Saraswati Thakur's thinking. And Saraswati Thakur said, Ramendra Sundar means Krishna, not Ramchandra, not Balaram, but Krishna, exclusively Krishna. He is Ramendra, and Sundar, beautiful Ramendra, that is Krishna's name. Then that name I've given to you. And then Saraswati Thakur said, quoted the Gita, whatever a great man does, lesser men will follow in his footsteps. Said, so this day, your initiation day, he quoted that verse. And Guru Maharaj said, I was, with some preaching parties here and there, and going here and there. Then he said, we would go meeting with people, and usually 2 sannyasis and myself and others. And he said I was the canvasser. I would introduce everyone, like this. And then he said, when we returned, Bon Maharaj said to Saraswati Thakur, he is a very good preacher. He shouldn't be a canvasser. He should be a preacher. Anyway, then Saraswati Thakur wanted to send Guru Maharaj to discover the place where the Ramananda Samvad took place, the conversation between Ramananda Rai and Mahaprabhu on the banks of the Kaveri. She said so, and he wanted to establish the Padapit, the footprints of Mahaprabhu there. So he sent Guru Maharaj, and on the day that he sent him, he changed Guru Maharaj's name again to Ramananda Das. And Guru Maharaj went, and with the help of the local people and the historical records, he found where that place was, and installed the Padapit of Mahaprabhu, the footprints of Mahaprabhu, and then later Saraswati Thakur came. And then a mott was built there, but that was after Saraswati Thakur. That was built by Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj. That's called the Ramananda Gaudiya Mott. It still exists today. So then after that, Guru Maharaj was given sannyas, and Saraswati Thakur, he quoted Mahaprabhu, said, Eka Rakshakam Sridhar Swami, talking about Sridhar Swami, the commentator of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Mahaprabhu considered that Sridhar Swami of the Sri Sampradaya, that his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam was the authoritative commentary. And so at that time he gave Guru Maharaj the name Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Bhakti Rakshak means the guardian of devotion. Then Guru Maharaj was posted. He said this is an interesting thing, I think. That to me it's interesting anyway, is that Saraswati Thakur, his program was he didn't give people sannyas and then send them off for, go become a paribrajak and go everywhere and preach and so on. He gave people sannyas and posted them somewhere. in charge of a mott, or practical application for a mission. I mean, after all, the mission of Gaudiya Mott had never been seen anything of its like in the Sampradaya of Mahaprabhu before. So that's what he did. When he gave someone sannyas, he would post them at a certain place for a certain time. So Guru Maharaj, his first posting, if you like, was at the Kurukshetra Gaudiya Mott. And Guru Maharaj said, it is a very isolated place. He said, except for the solar eclipse when many thousands of people come, it's almost like no one ever goes there. And Guru Maharaj stayed there for 3 years. He said, practically alone, I was there for 3 years. Then Saraswati Thakur made Guru Maharaj the head of the Delhi Mott, and then later the Madras Mott, and many different places. But so, and for some time Guru Maharaj was traveling with Saraswati Thakur for preaching all over. And as funnily enough, actually, our accountant in the time of Guru Maharaj, our accountant, his name was Dauji. I forget his surname, but anyway, he had a big house in Calcutta near to Kalighat, and so Guru Maharaj sent me there sometimes to give documents to Dauji Karnani, and he was an old man, but he used to do business just sitting on his bed, and on the telephone in those days. And sometimes I would go there, and then once Guru Maharaj said, "Oh, Saraswati Thakur gave a lecture in this house." It was owned by somebody else then, he said, but Saraswati Thakur gave a lecture, and he said, and I came with him, and he gave a very nice talk, and which I appreciated very much. And he said, I like to make notes when Prabhupada would give a talk. He said, but I didn't bring anything with me. I had no paper and no pen. Then afterwards, Saraswati Thakur said, so did you write it down what I spoke? And he said, no. And he said, this is something new that came from me, and I wanted to remember it later on. And he said, but you didn't have any paper or pen. He said, then you are a Gobar Ganesh. You are nothing but a Gobar Ganesh. That means like a Ganesh, he's the scribe of Vyasadeva, but a Gobar Ganesh means a Ganesh made of cow dung. So useless. Guru Maharaj laughed. Anyway, so he spent many time with Saraswati Thakur, attending with him, and then Guru Maharaj wrote this Bhakti Vinod Viraha Dasakam in the time of Saraswati Thakur, and it was published in the Gaudiya magazine. And Saraswati Thakur, when he read it, he said, oh, it's a very happy style. He said, who has written this? And the editor said, oh, Sridhar Maharaj has written this. And on closer examination, Saraswati Thakur said, no, it is not written by Sridhar Maharaj. It is so fine that it is written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself through Sridhar Maharaj. And then he said, so now I am confident that even if I leave this world, what I came to give, it is represented by one man. He is able to carry that. He is able to represent me fully, and that is Sridhar Maharaj. And another time when it was his Vyasa Puja, he was in Madras, Saraswati Thakur is in Madras, and he wrote an address to the devotees there. And in that address, he named all the people that were present there at that time, and Guru Maharaj was present there. But in his name, he wrote Shastra Nipuna Sridhar Maharaj. Shastra Nipuna means genius of scripture. He told that. So, and then of course later, Saraswati Thakur, on his disappearance, he wants to bring Guru Maharaj there. Before that, we should mention that, he sent preachers to London, Bon Maharaj and Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj. Bon Maharaj was the main preacher, and Sambhidananda Prabhu, who was studying law in London at that time. But Bon Maharaj was the main preacher, and but Saraswati Thakur wasn't happy with his, let's say, his outing to London, and he went to London and also to Berlin, and Saraswati Thakur met with Rabindranath Tagore because Rabindranath had been given the Nobel Prize for Literature and had been all over the world, and he asked him, where do you think Mahaprabhu's message will be appreciated most in Europe? And he said, England and Germany. They have appreciation for culture, they all appreciate. So first he came to London, and they established something in London, and then he went to Berlin. But when he returned to the UK, he came back, to India, he came back booted and suited, Guru Maharaj said, in a suit with boot, and he'd thrown his danda into the Thames and cut off his shika, and came back and when he came to Bombay, to the port of Bombay, and wouldn't enter the temple, he wouldn't take his shoes off. He said, no, a gentleman won't take his shoes off to go to a place of worship. And anyway, somehow they persuaded him, put on your sannyas dress, and they have a reception for you, like everything. So anyway, reception was made, and there's a photograph, a famous photograph of him with some coming there in Bombay, maybe at the port or somewhere, and Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he's there, and he's got this big handlebars moustache, he's there, and Guru Maharaj was also there. I'm not sure he's in the photograph or not. Guru Maharaj, when there was photographs, Guru Maharaj would always hide in the back. He didn't like photographs being made of him. But anyhow, so they have the reception and everything, and the newspapers are there and all of that. Then afterwards they're together in the room, and Guru Maharaj is there, and Prabhupada is there, and Guru Maharaj says to him, Maharaj, what happened? And he says, oh, they have questions that we cannot answer. Then Guru Maharaj said, what are those questions? And then he listed maybe 20 questions, and Guru Maharaj answered all of those questions that they, and when he'd finished, defeated all of the questions, then Prabhupada, Abhay Charan Babu as he was then, he said he jumped up on the table, and with his arms raised, he said, today Europe has been conquered by India. Anyway, so what happened, right? That when he left, although he'd made many inroads in the UK, then he wrote letters to everybody saying, it's all over, we're closing it down. We're not going to carry on with it. And Saraswati Thakur was very disturbed by this. So he asked Guru Maharaj, he said, I want to send you to London. And Guru Maharaj said, Maharaj, if you insist, I'll go. But I'm not the fit person for that. I don't mix very well with people. I can't understand their intonation. I don't understand their habits. I'm the wrong person to send. He said, if you order me, I must go, but you'll waste your money if you send me. I think it would be better if you send a Prakrita Prabhu. So a Prakrita was a Grihastha, and a very good Vaishnava, but Guru Maharaj said, he's a very worldly minded person, he knows the world, in other words, but a great Vaishnava also. So he became Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj later. But so Saraswati Thakur decided to send him, and he had some success in London, met the king and the queen, met the Archbishop of Canterbury, and you know, they were going to build a temple in London. The Maharaj of Jaipur in Orissa was going to fund it, but anyhow, I mean that's all another story you can say. But before going, Saraswati Thakur gave him the title of Goswami. Generally in Gaudiya Math, Goswami is a title only given to sannyasis, but as a grihastha, he sent him to London as a Prakrita Goswami. So then one of the devotees said to Guru Maharaj, how come you refused that? You know, like, don't you want to be like the world preacher? And Guru Maharaj said, no, I don't have any aspiration for anything like that. I only want to be counted as a sincere servitor of Guru Maharaj, that's all. And another said, but you know why Guru Maharaj wanted to send you? And Guru Maharaj said, I have some idea. He said, he wanted to send you, and he told us that he wanted to send you because Sridhar Maharaj cannot be converted. And to get an idea of like what the fervor of preaching in the West was in the Gaudiya Math at that time, like how important it was, Guru Maharaj said that in Mayapur, the man who was ploughing the fields with the oxen, he in his spare time he was learning English, and all the devotees, you know, were laughing at him. They said, you're not going to be sent to the West, you know. And he says, who knows? In 10 years, I may be ploughing the fields in New York or somewhere, you know. So that was kind of like the mood of how it was for preaching in the West at that time. So anyway, Goswami Maharaj was sent instead of Guru Maharaj. But Guru Maharaj also said, but I also had a feeling that Saraswati Thakur will not remain much longer in the world, and that he will want me to be there at his passing. And indeed, that was the case. So, in Calcutta, Guru Maharaj was, he said we were keeping like watch at his bedside. We know that soon he will pass. So we're keeping watch. And he said, my shift was from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the morning. He said so, and then after 4 o'clock when someone came to relieve me, then I would go to the Mongol Arti, and then I would go and take some rest afterwards. He said, so then this morning, when Saraswati Thakur, I'd gone to the Mongol Arti, and just as the Mongol Arti was finishing, one of the devotees came and said, Prabhupada is calling for you. And this, he said, this had never happened. So he said, so now I can understand, now Prabhupada will pass away, will leave the world. So then Guru Maharaj was called there, and when Guru Maharaj was in the room, and many like senior devotees were there, then Guru Maharaj said, then Saraswati Thakur said, Hare Krishna. He said, Sridhar Maharaj, sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. As I'm sure you know, this song by Narottam Das Thakur is considered the highest anthem of the Gaudiya mission, or the Rupanuga Sampradaya, the highest song of the Rupanuga Sampradaya. In fact, in our mott, we never sing that song, only Guru Maharaj would sing that song, and sometimes Govinda Maharaj, but otherwise we are considering it too high for us. We consider, because we're thinking Guru Maharaj's song, it's Guru Maharaj's song. And so anyway, Guru Maharaj said, I wasn't a good singer. He said, I was a good dancer in the kirtan. I can dance nicely in the kirtan. And even in his last days, when Guru Maharaj would come and join the kirtan, sometimes he would dance. And it was a very beautiful thing to see. But he said, so I'm a good dancer, but I am not a good singer. He said, so I'm hesitating to sing. Then one brahmachari, Pranavananda brahmachari, I think, who is or was Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, but he was a brahmachari there. Then Kunja Babu, Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj, Kunjabi Hari, he was Saraswati Thakur's secretary. Seeing Guru Maharaj hesitating, he told Prabhu, you sing. Because he was very, like, the best kirtan leader, apparently. Pramod Puri Maharaj, the best kirtan leader in the Gaudiya mission at that time. So, and Tirtha Maharaj, although he was a grihasta then, nobody would, whatever he said, whatever order he gave, everyone would follow. All the sannyasis, everybody. That was his position. Then he told that Prabhu, you sing. Then he began singing. But after a few lines, Saraswati Thakur said, no, stop. I don't want to hear the sweet tune. I want to hear Sridhar Maharaj sing. So then Guru Maharaj began. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Say More Sampada. We know that song. So then everybody there who was present at that time, they said, this was your initiation into Rasa Seva. They told to Srila Guru Maharaj. And Pramod Puri Maharaj, he wrote a letter to Guru Maharaj. And in that letter he said, we consider that there was a divine transference at that point. And you were given the leadership of the Rupanuga Sampradaya, and I consider you to be Rupanuga Dhara. Rupanuga Dhara. Dhara means current. So the current of the Rupanuga Sampradaya coming through you. And we saw that that was the case after Saraswati Thakur's disappearance. Mostly the senior godbrothers, they came to take association and advice from Srila Sridhar Maharaj. In fact, later he was asked to be the head of the Gaudiya mission, which he accepted when I was there in about 1984. They asked, and he accepted that. But almost all of his godbrothers considered him. They would say, after Prabhupada, we are considering that what you say, that is the same as what Saraswati Thakur will say. So, it was a wonderful time. We came to the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj in 1982, just by sheer fortune. And after that time, we stayed with him until his passing in 1988. And that time Guru Maharaj was, you can say, he was in his benevolent grandfather mode. Once I said to Govinda Maharaj, I wish I could have seen Guru Maharaj or been with Guru Maharaj when he was younger and going for preaching. And this is at that time, for the last maybe 10 years, even before we came, he never went outside of Gaudiya. He never really went outside of the gate of Chaitanya Saraswat Math. In fact, while I was there only once, and that was, we had some land that was given to us. It was bought by one devotee. It was about 3 miles down the road from the mott. And it was, the address was number 2 Goranga Colony. And there was some nice land there, and that land was used for cultivation. But Guru Maharaj wanted to go and see it one day. So he called me and my godbrother, Gauracharan Prabhu, called us up there, and he said, can either of you drive? I couldn't drive then. I was barely out of my teens. But Gauracharan Prabhu said, well, I can drive a tractor. You know, on the farm I used to drive a tractor. And Guru Maharaj said, okay, that'll do. So the temple car was bought out, and we took Guru Maharaj down to the land, which he called the land of nectar. He called it the land of nectar. And we drove down, and they opened the gates, and Guru Maharaj came in the car. He didn't get out of the car. He just sat in the car, and he asked one of the devotees there, bring me some soil from the land, and he put the soil on his head and told some prayers. Then we went back. That was the only time I ever saw him go out the gate in the whole time that we were there. But before, then I said to Govinda Maharaj, I wish I could have seen him in those days. And Gurudev said, he laughed at me and he said, Prabhu, you wouldn't have been able to stay. I said, what do you mean, Maharaj? He said, Guru Maharaj is so strict that nobody could stay with him. Like, you can count on one hand the people that could stay with him. If we did anything wrong, Guru Maharaj would beat us. It is so strict. Then he would not be able to stay. And he said, Guru Govinda Maharaj said, but I stayed. And you can see. So, and Guru Maharaj was very strict, extremely strict. In fact, Guru Maharaj said, because his family, they're smarter Brahmins, right? So he's brought up in a very strict Brahmin family. Then he said, even now, I consider that I'm in the vanguard of the rebels. Like when I've come to Chaitanya Dev's conception, I feel like I'm in the vanguard of the rebels. So, when he started Chaitanya Saraswat Math, first of all, after Saraswati Thakur's disappearance, and there's another history all around that, the breakdown of the Gaudiya Math, you can say. Guru Maharaj said that finally the infighting was too much that I had to leave. And so he said, so I left, like silently. I didn't make any big thing, I just left silently. And he said, then after I left, like 80% of the senior men also left. He said, but still, there's like so much fighting, like infighting. There were court cases in the High Court of India that went on for 10 years. Finally, the judge that was overseeing all those cases, he came to Guru Maharaj and he said, I see that all the different parties, they all equally respect you. He said, and you don't have any bias towards any of them. So he said, do you think we can, that we can like broker some solution? And Guru Maharaj said, I thought if it will bring it all to an end for the service of Guru Maharaj, Saraswati Thakur, I shall try to do that. And it was done. But finally, Guru Maharaj left, and he said, first of all, he went to Vrindavan. And then he said, I'm thinking, Vrindavan is for the liberated souls. He said, the fallen souls, they will get their salvation in Navadvip. He said, so I determined that I would go and spend the rest of my life in Navadvip alone, just to do bhajan. He said, so my brother, Amar Babu, he was a superintendent on the railway, which was a good job in those. I think it still is a good job in India, But anyway, he said he gave me 10 rupees a month so that I could rent a small place and like for food and so on. He said I took Govardhan Shila from Vrindavan, from Govardhan, and came to Navadvip. Said, but then I went to. I'm thinking before I can settle in Navadvip, I have to get permission of the Dharmeshwara, which is Nityananda Prabhu. So I went to Ekachakra, the birthplace of Nityananda Prabhu, and before the deity of Nityananda Prabhu, I said, you are Patita Pavan, please give me your permission that I can reside my last days in Navadvip. He said, then I got inspiration that Nityananda Prabhu said to me, you are telling Patita Pavan, but you are not giving Pavan to the Patita. You are selfishly going alone and not sharing the wealth that you have with anybody. Then how I can give my permission to you? And Guru Maharaj said, then I changed my attitude. I thought, all right, if anyone will come to me, I will give some help to them as much as I am able. So then when he came back to Navadvip, he's staying in that rented place, then one of his godbrothers spotted him in the street. Oh, you are here, we've been searching for you. Yes, I'm here. Said, then gradually other godbrothers came, and one very good friend, Saki Charan Babu. His name was Saki Charan Babu. He was the he was a very rich salt merchant. He came from Bangladesh at the time of partition, and he made a business as a salt merchant in Calcutta, and he was very rich. He paid for the building of the Chaitanya Mott in Mayapur, and he was very close friend of Guru Maharaj. Then when he found out where Guru Maharaj was, he told Guru Maharaj, select some land and I will purchase that for you. So Guru Maharaj thought, where will be the best place? You know, like so many people running to Mayapur and everything, but Guru Maharaj is thinking, Aparada Bhanjanarapat, where Mahaprabhu, after returning from sannyas, where he forgave all the offenders, he said, that place will be good for me. So I selected that land where the mott is in Koledanga, in Koladweep, and Sakicharan Babu, he purchased that land for Guru Maharaj. Then Guru Maharaj living there with another godbrother, Satish. Satish became Nayanananda Das Babaji Maharaj later on. But they're living together there, the two godbrothers. And Guru Maharaj said, I was eating copious amounts of dal, and we were cultivating the land. He said, I'm getting much strength from dal, and we are cultivating the land together, planting, and so on. And gradually, devotees came, and the temple became manifest. But originally, it was just a thatched hut, bamboo thatched hut. Guru Maharaj is living, and he said, I was living inside and one cobra living in the roof. He said, but I didn't bother him and he didn't bother me. Then one day Guru Maharaj bought a big bamboo pole and planted that bamboo pole next to the hut and raised a flag on there, and he wrote this shloka, Sriman Chaitanya Saraswat. A big sloka, you can say the pranam mantra of Chaitanya Saraswat Mott, and it says, the flag flies over, on the banks of the river Ganges, the flag flies high, proclaiming the glories of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mott all over the world. And one of his godbrothers, Ram Gopal Babu, he came and he said, oh, one small hut and a big bamboo pole and a flag and such a big shloka. What's the meaning of that? And Guru Maharaj says, yes, it may be just this now, but in the future you will see what will be. And so we know. Now Chaitanya Saraswat Mott, all over the world, devotees of Guru Maharaj, all over the world. So, then in 1947, Srila Govinda Maharaj came to Guru Maharaj. That's another story for another day. But that was Nrsimha Chaturdashi in 1947. And after Gurudev came, then the temple became very prosperous and very constructed as it is today. So we were fortunate to have Guru Maharaj's association for 6 years. Often Guru Maharaj would say, he would say, 10 years with Prabhupada, 50 years alone. He would lament like that. 10 years with Prabhupada, 50 years alone. So, 6 years we had with Guru Maharaj. But Guru Maharaj left us in the care of Srila Govinda Maharaj. In fact, he only accepted us because of Govinda Maharaj. He said, I'm not that ginger tea. Thank you, yeah. He said, Guru Maharaj, when we came to Guru Maharaj said, I'm at the fag end of my life, and who knows how long I will live. Then who will take care of them after I'm gone? Govinda Maharaj told, they've come from so far, Maharaj, and to hear from you. If you want, I will take care of them. And then Guru Maharaj said, okay. And he accepted us as his disciples. He already had two Western disciples. First one was Dibishari. She's the mother of Bishaka and Ashapurna and Ishwari, 3 girls. So, and those girls, Govinda Maharaj said, better than any Indian girls. But that was his first disciple. And second disciple, Jai Gorendu, John Edmondson. He's still around. I know him for a long time, my friend. But then Guru Maharaj, that was it. You know, he didn't have any aspiration to have hundreds or thousands of followers. In fact, he would say, when there are so many people, I become besides myself. I don't know what to do. I don't like it, you know. And he would say, oh, you may say Sridhar Maharaj is very cruel, but I say, you have to go and live somewhere else. You can't live here. He said, I just, in the company of a few devotees, discussing the higher topics of the scripture, that's what I like to do in my life. And when there are huge, big crowds of people, I become besides myself. Don't like it. I can't tolerate it. But he did tolerate it. And Srila Guru Govinda Maharaj always encouraging us, or encouraging Guru Maharaj to give some grace to us. Often Guru Maharaj would say, oh, I'm not feeling well today, I'm not going to... And Guru Govinda Maharaj would say, Maharaj, 5 minutes. They've come from so far away and they've come to hear from you. Just give 5 minutes. Or just sit with them for 5 minutes. They'll be happy. You don't even need to say anything. And so, okay, then Guru Maharaj would come and then he would say, any question? And somebody would give a question, and then that 5 minutes would sometimes be 2 hours, Guru Maharaj speaking. And I remember the very first time I heard a lecture of Guru Maharaj, that in that lecture he was telling how Satyabhama is Radharani's representative in Dwarka. That in Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani, her position is foremost, and her rival, Chandravali, is second. So, but in Dwarka, it's reversed. Chandravali is Rukmini in Vrindavan, in Dwarka, and she's first queen, and second queen, Satyabhama, is Radharani's representative. Now, I'd been reading Prabhupada's books since I was 14 years old and was in ISKCON before coming to Guru Maharaj. I'd read all his books and I'd never read that anywhere. So that was the first thing I heard from Guru Maharaj, and I thought, oh, here I'll hear things that I never heard anywhere else before. And really it was so. I mean, that was just the first thing that I remember hearing from him. Perhaps not such a significant thing, but so many things we heard from Guru Maharaj. And his presentation of Krishna consciousness, very high and heart captivating. So Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj began to record his talks and make books. And he made 5 books. Search for Sri Krishna, Reality the Beautiful, Sri Guru and His Grace, The Golden Volcano of Divine Love, The Lord's Loving Search for His Lost Servant, and Subjective Evolution of Consciousness. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, these are my 5 deities. And really, you know, they're so wonderful. Guru Maharaj, once I heard Guru Maharaj say, I was born to preach in English, in the English language. And really it was so. And another time he said, if anyone will sit with me for 3 days, I can completely convince them about Mahaprabhu's conception. It wasn't like a boast, it was just a fact. And we saw that that was the case. And not just 3 days, sometimes like in 5 minutes. You know, Guru Maharaj's nature was such that once you came in contact with him, you were willing to give your life to him. It was like there was no other. In the words of Srila Govinda Maharaj, one word from Guru Maharaj is enough to make us his slave forever. And Srila Govinda Maharaj, that was his whole mission, was spreading the Susiddhanta of Guru Maharaj all over the world. Maybe 23 times he traveled, circled the world, preaching on behalf of Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj said himself, said, when I heard from Saraswati Thakur, the first time I heard him preaching, I thought, this isn't just a man who's vomiting what he's heard from somebody else or what he's read in a book. What he is giving is something real and original. And we can say that was Guru Maharaj was like that too. And many very high concepts, get ready, many high concepts of the scripture, Guru Maharaj had this talent of being able to percolate that down into some very easily understood expression, especially in English. In fact, Srila Govinda Maharaj said, there's one point that Guru Maharaj used to tell us often, and I could never quite understand the meaning until I read it in Golden Volcano when Guru Maharaj gave it in English. Oh, then that's what he means. Sadly, I can't remember what that particular point was, but Guru Maharaj's preaching is like poetry. And of course, you may say, oh, well, Devashis is his disciple, then he's obviously biased by that. But, and maybe I am, what can I say? But when Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he predicted that the day will come when every intelligent man and woman in the world must accept the religion of love as taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the only valuable religious conception. And all other religious conceptions will disappear. And we believe that to be true. I mean, Govinda Maharaj said, I read, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, the day will come when the fair-skinned people of Europe and America and Russia will come together with the devotees of India with their arms upraised, chanting Jai Satchinandana, and going to the places where Mahaprabhu had his pastimes. Govinda Maharaj said, when I read that, I thought, yes, it must come true, but not in my lifetime. But we see, that in his lifetime it came true. And not only are we witness to that, we are also part of that. So, we don't take Bhaktivinoda Thakur's predictions lightly. So he says, that every intelligent man and woman in the world will accept Mahaprabhu's religion of love as the highest thing. And all other religious conceptions will disappear. So we're also thinking, it must happen, but not in our lifetime. But who knows, Who knows? It's the third one. And then turn the knob. There you go. But anyway, the point I wanted to make was that I think that, Srila Sridhar Maharaj's unique presentation of Krishna consciousness is singularly important in that prediction coming true. That no one can read those books or hear the talk of Sridhar Maharaj and not be charmed. It's like reading poetry, Guru Maharaj's expressions.
May I make a comment?
Yeah.
I find Srila Sridhar Maharaj unique in the sense that he is not only very devotional and very erudite, very educated, but also he's very practical. I feel like he has an expert understanding of his disciples' psychology. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. In fact,
He's a very. My mother says this. My mother loves Sridhar Maharaj, and she says he's so practical. If you just open any page of his books, he's sort of telling you not just what it's all about, but what you can do.
right.
You know, like some way that motivates you to actually perform some action. You know?
It's true. In
Sorry,
fact,
I
no,
didn't
no.
mean to interrupt you.
No, don't be sorry. We're here to hear the glories of Guru Maharaj. But he himself said, I always come down on the side of spiritual common sense.
Yeah, that's good.
Now you know.
Guru Maharaj wrote this sloka.
Yes. Gayatri Muralista Kirtanam Radha Padam Kirtana Dhimahi Radha no, what is it? Kirtana Danam Kirtana Danam Radha Padam Dhimahi. It's one sloka of a number of slokas that Guru Maharaj composed, which show that the meaning of Brahma Gayatri Mantra is coming to the service and worship of Srimati Radharani. This is very unique, you know. Maybe it goes back to when he was doing the japa of Gayatri as a boy. But he said, in my last days, this realization has come to me. He said, how is it that Brahma Gayatri Mantra, the Gayatri Mantra, which is the mother of the Veda, how can that not come to the conclusion of the Veda, which is Radha Dasyam as being the highest thing?
He composed.
He composed this sloka to explain. There are maybe five, 6 slokas explaining this. So, you know, like in when I was in ISKCON, they used to tell us the Brahma Gayatri Mantra's meditation on the sun god. And even I saw on one of their websites, what is the Brahma Gayatri Mantra? Worship of the sun god. That was one of the answers on their what do they call it? Brahma, Bhakti Shastri, one of the questions. But how can that be? After coming to the conception of Srimad Bhagavatam, that now you'll be doing the japam or the meditation on Surja. This is backwards. So Guru Maharaj says that where it says where it mentions Surja in the mantra, said this is only representative of the light that is coming from the Gayatri, and the light by which we perceive the soul, and that is the soul itself illuminates the soul. It's self-illuminated. So he's saying this is a symbolic meaning. It is not that, but the actual meaning comes. You can read the explanation. Comes to the worship and service of Srimati Radharani. After all, right, the Gayatri Mantra is non-different from the flute song of Krishna, isn't it? And what does the flute of Krishna say? Radha, Radha. So it is that. And the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam is to show the glory of Srimati Radharani. Guru Maharaj has explained that. So, then Guru Maharaj said, Gayatri Mantra must also come to that. He said, I read that Jiva Goswami had given a similar explanation. He said, but I looked, but I could not find that. So he gave that. Many new things Guru Maharaj gave, like unique things that he gave. His what to speak of those books, those 5 books and other books, but also Prema Dharma Deva Stotram. That is in 70 verses. Mahaprabhu made into a song, you can say, like that. It is uniquely beautiful. And the meter in which it's composed is very difficult meter to compose in. But it is so beautiful.
What's it in, Prabhu? What meter is it?
I don't know the name. But Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, when he read that, he said, no one can compete with Sridhar Maharaj. Like many acharyas, they've composed songs, in Sanskrit about Mahaprabhu and so on. But after reading that, Keshav Maharaj said, nobody can compete with Sridhar Maharaj. And of course, Bhakti Vinod Viraha Dasakam, that was what he said, this was what captured my Guru Maharaj's affection for me, and so many things. His commentary on Bhagavad Gita, very unique commentary. And which is yet to see the light of day in the English language, Guru Maharaj's commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We are praying that one day that will manifest. Either that, or we'll have to learn Sanskrit to be able to read it ourselves.
That might be
But and his songs, Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. So many mots and mission, they sing this song to Saraswati Thakur. In fact, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj told his disciples this song should be sung in our temples on his appearance and disappearance day. They didn't do it, but he told that. And of course, Prapana Jivanamrita. Govinda Maharaj said it is not just a compilation of Sridhar Maharaj. It is a scripture, a holy scripture of Sharanagati that is manifest through the pen of Guru Maharaj. If you want to know what is Krishna consciousness, and you can study that, Gurudev said it should be studied every day like Bhagavad Gita. If you want to know what is Sharanagati and how to practice Sharanagati, then Prapana Jivanamritam is there for you, for all of us. Because without discussing that, how can that desire for the Sharanagati be born in us? Then how to discuss it in the proper way? Prapana Jivanamritam. When it was first published in English, the translator, he thought, before each verse, there's a verse quoted from the scripture. Guru Maharaj is given like an aphorism explaining the meaning of the verse, right? That devotee translators thought, oh, that's just redundant, and so he scrapped all those bits and just published like the compilation of the verses. That is the book. Those aphorisms that Guru Maharaj has given, that's the book. Dare I say it, the meat of the book is there. This is what Guru Maharaj wants to tell us, this aphorism here. And to prove that it's true, he's given evidence from the scripture. It's not the other way around. It's not like an introduction to that verse. If you understand that, then you can approach Prapana Jivanamritam in the right way, and you will get the meaning, the understanding from that. And why that was Guru Maharaj's composition. When he came, he said, when I came to live alone, giving up the valuable association of my godbrothers, then I had to think, what is that one indispensable thing in the life of a devotee? What is that one thing that every devotee must have for their devotion to be real? Then he said, I came to the conclusion it's Sharanagati, surrender. He said, because without Sharanagati, everything's just form. It's just lifeless. Sharanagati is the very essence of devotion. So, when we're newcomers, we're taught, whatever you do, whatever you like to do it as an offering to Krishna, dovetail it in Krishna's service. But that's not Sharanagati. Sharanagati is that we offer it to Krishna first, not because we like it, for Krishna's satisfaction. In the mood of surrender, then that becomes real. Then that becomes substantial. Otherwise, you can just do some formal thing. What does that mean? What does it mean, Maybe it has some benefit, no doubt, because of its connection with the Lord. But ultimately, the heart is what's necessary. This is another thing, We've all heard in our devotional careers, if you like, that it says, Sadhu Guru Shastra, right? If something is true, it must be in consonance with Sadhu, Guru and Shastra. They must all agree. But Guru Maharaj said, that's all right. But there has to be a fourth element also. And that is the recognition of the heart. The heart has to say yes. The heart has to recognize it. Otherwise, what's the meaning? It's all about the heart. Devotion, after all, is all about the heart. Guru Maharaj said, Krishna is a collector of hearts. And not so much brains. He told me, not so much brains. I said, oh, that's good. So, it's the fact. Devotion in Vaikuntha, it's not the same as Vrindavan devotion. Vrindavan devotion is the topmost devotion. It is Gyan Shunya Bhakti. Gyan Shunya Bhakti. When we hear that, first of all, we think, what does that mean? Like ignorant bhakti? Like no, without any knowledge? Like what is that? Some kind of fanaticism or something? And in fact, one Pandit was debating with Guru Maharaj. He was a very highly respected Pandit. And he said, but what you are preaching, this Gyan Shunya Bhakti, we can't accept that. Because the very life must be Gyan, that you know, to know. Gyan Shunya Bhakti. Otherwise, how can it be real? How can it be devotion? And Guru Maharaj said, there are many things that just go on automatically, isn't it? Within you now, right? Your digestion is going on, your lungs are giving you oxygen, your heart is... You're not conscious about that. You don't know how it works. You don't have to know how it works. It just happens. So that devotion, the highest devotion, you don't have to analyze it. It just spontaneously flows from the heart. When the heart is divulged of all its meanness and all of the, as Guru Maharaj would say, acquired prejudice, acquired tendency, and acquired misconception, when that's all gone, the heart freely flows towards Krishna. Like a horse when it has the blinkers taken off, it just runs to its desired goal. So also the heart, when it's given a free rein, the heart will automatically run to Krishna. If it is pure, if it is free. So that's what it's all about. It's all about that. It's all about the awakenment of the heart. And this is what Guru Maharaj is teaching us. He's telling us, don't believe this material world, all these things in this material world. They're not very important, because they're all coming, they're all going. Don't try and make some permanent arrangement in a temporary place. That's madness. It's actually madness. It's like if when you're on holiday, staying in a hotel, if you start decorating the hotel room and putting up your favorite pictures and them, they'll kick you out, won't they? But that's what we do, right? Saraswat Thakur said that that this life in this material world is camp life. We're just camping out, But we're trying to make some permanent arrangement for our comfort and convenience. But we're not here permanently. So why should we give so much attention to that? What do you actually need? And don't give your attention to that. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Try and believe the words of the saints and the scripture. And there you'll see reality. this is an interesting thing. That when, after Prabhupada's disappearance, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's disappearance, Prabhupada had given instruction to his senior disciples, if you need to consult with anyone, you can speak with Sridhar Maharaj. He can advise you. So they all came en masse, like a group of the new acharyas and, GBC people. They came to Guru Maharaj. And they're asking Guru Maharaj so many questions. Everything's going nicely at that time. Then this one morning when they're there, Guru Maharaj comes and he says, I have a question for you today. And they're, oh, okay. Then they said, then Guru Maharaj said, what is Krishna consciousness? And they're all giving some idea what they understand, And Kirtananda Maharaj, maybe he said, what Prabhupada taught us, that is Krishna consciousness. And Guru Maharaj said, yes, I appreciate that. But what is it that he taught you? What is... And finally they're like, okay, Maharaj, what is Krishna consciousness? They couldn't give a satisfactory answer. And Guru Maharaj's reply was, Krishna consciousness is reality. And you would do very well to become acquainted with that. That's the truth. Krishna consciousness isn't a philosophy or a lifestyle or any of these things. It is reality. As Guru Maharaj says, reality the beautiful. Krishna is reality the beautiful. And one day he said, reality is dancing. What do you think about that? So, really, we're not interested in religion, actually. We're interested in reality. What is reality? That's what we need to understand. That's what we need to give our attention to. Because everything else in this world is coming and going and coming and going. Nothing you can do about that. Very little you can do about that. Guru Maharaj said this is the core teaching of Bhagavad Gita. That you can't change the environment, but you can change yourself. And what's the environment? Einstein said the environment is everything that isn't you. That's the environment. So we can't change the environment. Maybe a little bit here, a little bit there, adjustment. But ultimately, we're all victims of the environment, if you like. But we can change ourselves. So if we can adjust ourselves with the environment in the proper way, in a way that reflects reality, then we'll find that everything is harmonious, that everything is helpful, and that everything is our friend. Guru Maharaj said, the environment is your friend. It's just you have to adjust your vision to it. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Not so easy. Easy to say, not so easy to do. But what else are we going to do? And so this is what Guru Maharaj is saying, I just want to finish here. I'm getting the look from my wife through the door, like, come on, finish it up. Then, so I just want to end by saying, that one time Guru Maharaj was talking. He was giving a very kind of heavy lecture this morning, and he's saying, he began by saying, do you think that Krishna consciousness is just a fun? Means like a game? You think it's just a game? And he's saying, Brahma is saying that he doesn't have it. Shiva is saying that he's still looking for it. The Vedas personified, they're asking forgiveness. Oh, we're supposed to be directing people to you, showing you to them. But we couldn't do it. Then all of this, then who are they compared to us? And then he's saying what we're attempting is almost impossible. It's almost impossible. Then this was like an hour lecture of this kind of vein. And at the end of that, we're all just sitting there feeling completely hopeless, thinking, well, just let the earth open up and swallow us now, And we're all sitting there in a stunned silence. And everyone is thinking the same thing, but nobody's brave enough to say it. Then finally, Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, he said, then if it's almost impossible, then why are we even attempting it? And we were all thinking that, you know. And then Guru Maharaj said, oh, we're not atheists. That, you know, that if we don't get it all in our fist in one go, that we don't believe it. And then he said, but anyway, why worry about the goal when the process is so much fun? And then it's true. What could be more wonderful than Krishna consciousness, you know? The association of the devotees who are the best people in the world, in spite of whatever faults they may have, they're the best people in the world. Hearing Harikatha, chanting, dancing, taking Mahaprasadam. What else could we want? Guru Maharaj said, some people may say it's all a big fantasy, you know, dreamt up by some poets in India. Said, but we'll say, even if it is a fantasy, we'd prefer that than your reality that you are offering to us. Just, you know, work hard, grow old and die. That's what they're offering, isn't it? You know, seriously. Then we'll keep the fantasy. But we know it's not a fantasy, right? Because the scripture and the saints have proven that it's real. Then who do you believe? We try to put our faith in the scripture and in the saints. Then we'll be okay. And this is Guru Maharaj's teaching to us. And in a very soft way, he's always encouraging us. He was very heavy when he was younger, but in his last days, as the affectionate grandfather, he gave us so much nourishment. And we're always indebted to him for that. And we're keeping that in our heart and trying as best as we can to serve him every day, to serve his deity. He had these deities installed here for us. Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Sham Sundar. Nearly 40 years ago now. And we are trying as best as we can to satisfy them. And this way satisfy Guru Maharaj. And even Govinda Maharaj, when he came here, he would always say, this is my Guru Maharaj's mot. Everywhere else in the world, he's taking his mot. But here he's telling my Guru Maharaj's mot. And it is Guru Maharaj's mot. And we can understand what fortune we have to be able to serve here, to be able to serve all of you, and to serve Guru Maharaj and to serve his deity.
So they used to say, why I feel like this is my house.
Yeah.
Looking after.
In fact, Sridhar Maharaj himself said, my mot in London is another room of my Navadvip mot. So here we are. Then it's not so easy to maintain that, to maintain the standard of Sridhar Maharaj. In fact, it's not even possible for us to properly attempt that. But as much as we're able, we are trying to do that. And we hope that he's not dissatisfied with us at least. Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Guru Maharaj Abirbhav Maha Mahotsav Sri Vyasapur Jatiti ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande.